Hi everyone, and welcome to my windy lair. I'm shooting from the north coast of Brazil, filming a video. I am filming this from a beautiful location on the north coast of Brazil called Jericoacoara. And it's taken me about 3 years to learn how to pronounce that. And I was just inspired to film a video about something that was really quite impactful at the event I spoke at in London about a week ago, just over a week ago, at the London Biohacker Summit. So I was very, very privileged to have been asked to speak at this by a good friend of mine now, Tim, who organises it. And I had to kind of raise my game because I was talking to a bunch of people who are really kind of advanced in their health and vitality and healing and this kind of stuff. So I had to really think about adding some serious value here. And I really hope you can hear me because it's really blowing hard here. And I had to really think about what I was doing. So I've raised my game and I had to go over I'll tell you the title of it first of all. I called it possibly the most effective and freest biohack known to man. I said possibly because I can't say absolutely categorically that was it, but it's pretty much one of the most overlooked and cost-effective biohacks known to man. So, as many of you know, you probably know that I'm talking about the root cause of almost every illness, which is chronic inflammation. It provides and creates so many symptoms in the body, and what I help people do is to reverse the root cause so their symptoms disappear. So I didn't really focus too much of my time on that. I focused one of my time on some kind of leading edge, cutting edge breakthroughs that I've discovered over the last kind of year or two. And it's all about the mind-body. So once I got past the idea of chronic inflammation being the root cause and how we can get rid of symptoms by changing what we do, how we eat and how we move and how we manage emotions, I got onto the mind-body thing because it's really quite important. And it's really about how our emotions actually determine the health of our cells in our body. So we're made up of like 50 trillion or so cells, and every single cell actually behaves like a mini me. They all require their own their own fuels, and it's really interesting thinking about it like this because rather than just flesh and bones and clumps of just meat, we are actually a giant cluster of cells, and they all require their own fuels, like oxygen, water, nutrients, the ability to eliminate waste, and also they have a governing body, which is our mind. And this is Bruce Lipton's stuff, by the way, as well as Dr. Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden, and I'm kind of amalgamating all of this stuff together, and other studies over the last few years. So our brain, our mind, our emotions have more power over our body and our health and our immune system than we'd ever realize. And it's scientifically proven now that this is the case. So the Institute of Heart Math has actually tested all these different emotions that we feel, which come with a vibration, because we are vibration, everything about us is vibration, and the emotions carry with them a vibration, a frequency, and different frequencies impact the health of our cells, and really they trigger a different pharmacy of chemicals inside the body. So when we're in a state of like ultimate joy and love, compassion, we secrete very different chemicals in the body. We secrete a very different pharmacy of chemicals in the body when we are in that really high kind of vibrational state. And when we're experiencing, on the flip side, if we're experiencing chronic stress or depression or anxiety or any negative emotion, our body secretes a very different pharmacy of chemicals in the body, and it suppresses the immune system. This is all scientifically proven now. So Bruce Lipton actually talks about this thing called the honeymoon effect. So when couples are really happy, brand new couples together, they're head over heels in love with each other, having loads of sex and stuff, they feel amazing. And it's been shown, studies all over the world, that their immune systems are really strong because they're experiencing this state of love, and your body secretes very different chemicals in the body. It's a very strong immune system, healing hormones, chemicals, all this amazing stuff. Conversely, when we're experiencing stress all the time, this has a negative impact on the quality, or rather the health of our cells. So, and interestingly, they said in America, about 90% of all chronic diseases is actually down to stress now. That was a figure they talked about in the Heal documentary, actually, which I very much recommend a watch of. So 90% of all illness is really down to stress. So a lot of it, obviously, there's a huge impact that nutrition has on it, on us, and being physically active, but also the stress thing and the quality of our emotions has a major impact on the quality of our health, on our mind, our own immune system, the health of every single cell in our body. So that got quite a bit of a discussion going, but what got most of the discussion going was the next point, and that is most of us haven't really learnt about what stress is. And I first came across this definition of stress when I read a book called Flow, Living at the Peak of Your Abilities by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. And he called stress an internal response to external strains. An internal response to external strains. So what he means by this is we are constantly faced with circumstances in our lives. We have things happening all the time. And what most of us tend to do is react to what's going on around us all the time. And there are examples where it's much harder to really reframe stress, if you like. For example, with close relationships, or maybe, family or whatever it is. It's much harder to really kind of reframe this, but there are lots of instances where we can actually completely reframe stress so we don't know that it has a negative impact on our nervous system. So there are lots of times where we can get triggered, and it literally has an effect on our body. And a good way of thinking about this, by the way, and I was reminded of this in a massage the other day, when I had knots in my back. I think I'm pretty good at reframing stress now and creating new meanings for things, but my back was knotted up, so I'm by far not perfect at this. But I was reminded about the mind-body connection when we understand how the impact of our emotions on our body, on our muscles, on our cells, and everything. So I just thought I'd take an example, and I used this example back then as well. A typical situation where we get stressed is traffic. So in London or LA, we have traffic all the time, and I've kind of reached I'm now able to kind of reframe this, because if we go out, I've decided that if we go out in LA in a car and we expect no traffic, it's the same as going swimming and expecting for there not to be any water. I mean, there's always traffic in LA, so we can reframe this immediately in a matter of seconds, so we don't get triggered by the stressful situation that is traffic. So, for example, I'm just kind of going off the top of my head now. We can think about how amazing it is that we're in a car that's getting us from A to B in a really short period of time, and isn't it so cool that everyone's able to do this? And I'm going to get to wherever I'm going, and at the perfect time. I'll trust in divine timing, or whatever you want to say. And next time I'll allow a bit more time. But now I get to listen to my podcast. I get to listen to some good music, and this is a way we can just reframe stress. just to have a little think about recreating what it means to us. And in fact, this is something I learned from Tony Robbins as well, and that is our suffering is only derived from the meaning that we give to things that happen. So anything that happens is neutral. The suffering that we create is actually a result of the meaning that we give to that, and that's really based on stories from our past, our own programming, stories that we tell ourselves again and again and again and again and again. So we can actually, when we kind of become aware and conscious of this programming, we can actually change the meaning that we give to things that would otherwise cause us stress. So I love the idea that we're in complete control of our own emotions. And again, I'm no saint in this by any means, particularly around people super close to me. So, and it's still a work in progress, but we do have the capacity to change our perception. Sorry about the wind, I'm hoping you can hear me. Wind is stressful, belief system. Yes, I hope you can hear me. Thanks, Mike. Stressful. You think this is stressful? It's causing me more. It's not. It's beautiful wind, and I'm loving this beautiful weather. So I just think it's brilliant, very empowering, knowing that we have the power to control our emotions, which then has an impact on our immune system. So that's just a snippet of what I was talking about, and I wanted to expand on this because there's only so much I can say in 5 or 6 minutes. But I'm going to actually hold a webinar tomorrow. I've decided to do it tomorrow. I was inspired to do this yesterday, and I'm going to hold a webinar where I go into much further detail about how to do this, because I've realised how powerful this particular point is on our immune system, and it's all scientifically proven now. It's not like woo-woo stuff. It's really important stuff to know, and we can biohack our own body by understanding the impact of our emotions over ourselves. So I'm going to hold a webinar tomorrow at 9 p.m. UK time, which is 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and I've called it the same title actually as this biohacker event. It's possibly the most overlooked and cost-effective biohack known to man, and I'd like you to come and have a look at it and see if I can share some more wisdom with you, to share how you can kind of reframe things. And we will look at what causes inflammation as well. By the way, stress causes inflammation, so we want to be finding ways where we can get rid of stress and really helping our immune system at the same time. So I hope you found that interesting, and I hope the win wasn't too stressful for you. Any questions before I run away? Thanks for watching, and have an enjoyable rest of your hump day. Ciao, ciao.